This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Yesterday was World Press Freedom Day, and you know who had something to say about it? Archewell Public Charity. I posted this up this morning in my community page, but want to take a moment today to talk about it because it's important. So this Fugazi Public Charity had put this up late yesterday. Otherwise, I would have talked about it in my video on censorship yesterday. But they write here, the Archewell Foundation recognizes World Press Freedom Day. As the foundation works to promote information integrity and ethical journalism as a fundamental right, we are proud to support our partners at Free Press, an organization dedicated to giving people a voice in the crucial decisions that shape our media. And we're going to go into Free Press and what they're all about in a second, but let's hear what Archewell Public Charity had to write about them. So they go on to say, since its inception in 2003, Free Press has worked tirelessly to transform the media system, focusing on combating hate and disinformation, fighting for privacy and civil rights, and transforming local news. Free Press invites people to envision what a transformed media could look like and how technology could improve their lives, and they fight alongside them to make it happen. Through our work with Free Press and more, the Archewell Foundation Public Charity remains committed to supporting a trustworthy and diverse information environment. Oh, isn't that so sweet? I need to keep putting this visual up here so people can really understand the gravity and the network that exists with this censorship industrial complex. These forces of socialist, Marxist human beings who think that they know better and want to be the arbiters of truth are deliberately trying to undermine the Constitution. Now, I have been talking about this for a long time now, but I think it's really important to understand each time they do something like this, you guys understand how it fits into this bigger picture. So, Archewell Public Charity gave $25,000 in a grant to Free Press in the year of 2022. Allegedly, it's supposed to support and strengthen community journalism and work towards an ethical and open free press. Sure, on paper they could say that, but do we necessarily know if that $25,000 went towards promoting journalists? And that's something we most likely will never know. In fact, there's so many excuses that Free Press could make up saying how this money was applied to because it was unrestricted. What Free Press actually does is they have a political action committee that's a separate fund in which they could be giving money over to that to go ahead and lobby for anti-free speech, which is exactly what Free Press is all about. Before we go to Influencer Watch to get the real on the motivations behind this organization, let's quickly take a look at their website and the homepage just to get a first impression. Right off the bat and in your face is a sign that says no justice, no peace, and I can't breathe. Obviously, they're still writing off of George Floyd's death and the Black Lives Matter movement. On the surface, when you look at the things that they have identified as at risk or at stake, you see free and open internet, future of journalism, media control, media and platform accountability, privacy and surveillance. All of these things, yes, are in jeopardy, but are in jeopardy of being controlled by people like Meghan and Harry. On the surface, when you look at these pillars, it comes across as non-threatening and pretty generic. But if you peel a layer off, and let's take, for example, the future of journalism, then you start to understand what the organization is about and who they are for. Now, while they all want to make sure that this sounds like everybody is included and they want to promote diversity, it really doesn't. This is probably one of the most racist organizations I have laid my eyes upon because everything is about focusing on reparations for people of color in the media, making sure that other communities are represented, instead of just saying, as Americans, we should be focused not on color, but focused on who we are as people in this country. They just don't like the capitalism of it all, and they want to get to a point where they can control the narrative. They can define and shape the media landscape. Exactly to what Archewell Funding Public Charity said. This is what Meghan wants to do. She wants to rewrite history and put herself in this position to where she controls information and the flow of it. Meghan is exploiting the Black community in order to gain favor to get what she wants, whether it be pushing regulation and policy, access to information. This is all about power and control with this woman. And this little Sussex Squad terror group that she has built from grassroots, you can bet that she has the intention on continuing its growth in order to continue this socialist Marxist movement that she is leading. And the reason why I think Meghan is so anti American is because she sees herself in a different class than the rest of us because she married into the royal family. So she is on the path of this globalist agenda for 2030 and is going to do what she has to do. In my opinion, I do believe that she has a relationship with our government in some way, as well as Harry has a relationship with our government in this administration. Many people say that she could be an asset. I would have to agree with that. I would have to agree that all the things that she's doing behind the scenes and then on the surface looking like a complete asshole is intentional. So now let's look at what Influence Watch has to say about free press. So they say free press is an anti-business media advocacy organization that supports tighter governmental control over the internet, blocking the consolidation of media companies and race and gender-focused federal regulations to install women and minorities in leadership positions in the media. So this is another DEI didn't earn it organization that is pushing people in positions not based off of qualifications, but based off of the mere fact that either they are deemed a woman or the color of their skin. Another one of these socialist Marxist organizations. If we scroll down further, it says free press campaigns in support of censorship by technology companies, including social media companies and payment processors, based on what it determines to be hateful or so-called misinformation. It uses identity politics as a basis for determining what content should be censored, recommending that content targeting specific groups such as ethnic minorities, women, or the LGBT community be censored. And this is why these people are so dangerous and toxic to society. They want to be the ones who dictate what they consider hate, even though hate is part of the human condition and they're allowed to hate as much as they want, not only on white people, but also on Christians, and nothing happened to them. Now, I just hope that there will come a day when the power shifts and all of this backfires on them, which it apparently will at some point. And, let's see how they like being silenced and censored and rights taken away. Because it's going to happen. And they're not going to like it. I guess the only good news out of censorship is that we're not going to have to hear their whining and bitching about their rights being taken away. You know what I mean? Digging deeper into what Influence Watch had to say about their censorship practices, it says here, Free Press's so-called free and open internet campaign supports censorship by technology companies, ranging from social media websites to payment processors. It demands companies censor any activity that it deems hateful. It claims that politically conservative content may not be hateful, but it argues that it often serves as a gateway to white supremacist content. Free Press advocates for censorship to the extent that it deems necessary to not be so-called hostile towards Black people. Jeez. One could argue that this organization is hateful and against white people. Free Press's media and platform accountability campaign criticizes media companies and internet platforms for not censoring what it describes as misinformation, in addition to hateful content. It names ethnic minorities, women, the LGBT community, immigrants, and religious minorities as groups that should be protected by censorship. Now, if you had the chance to watch yesterday's video on the YouTube files exposing how the Biden administration had been coercing social media companies to censor Americans, you would have known that the White House also had been working with Google in order to align their policies with whatever agenda the Biden administration wanted to see carried out. So we had around the vaccines, around the WHO, we had climate change, abortion. And I mentioned there's no doubt that race and women, minorities, most likely were also censored. And, it does remind me of when YouTube updated their policies surrounding harassment and cyberbullying, that they included any type of harassment around people with intrinsic features, whatever that may be, leads me to believe that groups like this are the ones who force that type of change onto the media platforms, which becomes extremely dangerous when they continue to keep adding things to these policies on what you can say, what you can do. Within reason, I understand that there needs to be some type of moderation. But when you get to a point, if you say, I don't like Meghan Markle, you should not be banned or deplatformed or demonetized for doing that. It has nothing to do with race or her gender. It has everything to do with her character. But I think you all know that. Anyhow, I think it's important to mention that one of the affiliate organizations that works closely with this free press is Color of Change. Hopefully that name rings a bell. If you'd watched this video from 3 months ago with Rashad Robinson, the CEO, you would then understand that he also is a part of this censorship industrial complex. The CEO, Rashad Robinson, was also a commissioner on this Aspen Commission on Information Disorder with Harry. As you can see, birds of a feather flock together. And who is he pictured next to? Safiya Noble, another Marxist who also is in favor of this censorship and oppression. I always think it's important that whenever her name's brought up, that we remind everyone that she was a part of Netflix mockumentary of lies. She also wrote the article, The Fight for Meghan's Life, in which she continued to talk about the Fugazi report that Bot Sentinel put out on those single-purpose hate accounts, which turned out to not be a coordinated campaign, but no correction was there. This was all disinformation, not misinformation, disinformation, designed to incite and to divide with malintentions. That's exactly what these people were doing. And they are the ones that want to be the arbiters of truth and to be able to decide what information you should see or not see, or who should be suppressed and silenced. I guess when you're getting $100,000 to push Meghan's lies, you're not really going to come back and say, oopsie, I made a mistake. My whole argument falls down because Meghan is a liar. I'm assuming Dr. Joy Bolawami, who won the $100,000 this year, has a role to play in this race baiting, so we'll just have to see. Meghan and Harry are a bunch of hypocrites, and currently right now there's a campaign with the Sugars that are still going after social media profiles to get them demonetized or taken down. As you can see here with Meghan Markle Brazil, it says here they are communicating to the Latino crowd that if they have more profiles spreading false information, especially on TikTok, send us a DM. TikTok pays these people for engagement, and we will no longer allow them to use Meghan to pay them money. Like, who the fuck are you to say that these people can't make a living or earning or express what they think? Like, go fuck yourself, Meghan. Seriously. Now, I heard that the motivation specialist, his channel's no longer around. I don't know what happened, whether it was a result of Meghan being behind it, but I wouldn't be surprised because all of these channels have been targets. And I think that this Supreme Court ruling, if they rule in the favor of the people and deem that it was unconstitutional, then that opens up a whole new area that Prince Harry doesn't want focus on, because his contribution to this and being a part of it could find him in also violating American civil rights. So motivation specialists, you need to watch closely too, as I know that you're American. If you got shut down as a result of these people behind the scenes taking you down because they didn't like what you have to say, then yeah, your civil rights have been violated. From what I could see going on and what has been happening, there is a case here, in my opinion. But we'll just have to wait and see, what the Supreme Court comes back with. I look at this entire administration and the shit that comes out of their mouths, like, they really do think the public is stupid. Like Anthony Blinken writes, in pursuit of truth, journalists often face unprecedented danger worldwide. One World Press Freedom Day, we recognize their bravery, resilience, and vital role in ensuring the free flow of accurate information. Our support for journalists and an independent media is unwavering. All these people are the same. These globalists talk out of both sides of their mouths, and he's no better than Meghan Markle. When you see this, you have to ask, what did the U.S. do to help Gonzalo Lira, who ended up dying in a Ukrainian jail? Or how about Julian Assange? Where's the support there? I hate to say it, but in the climate that we're in, if Julian Assange was black, you can bet that charges would have been dropped by now. It's such a shame. If Harry and Meghan had been actual decent people, then this would have been a cause to get behind because they have the global reach and they could have used it for good, but instead they want to use it for corruption and, whatever nefarious things that they're up to. It's sad that people like that are allowed to have that kind of access and power, while good people who are rotting away in jail, who just simply want to tell the truth, is treated like this. So, when I see things like, oh, we believe in the freedom of press and keeping integrity and all this bullshit coming from the mouths of these two idiots, I have to call them out on it because they are directly affecting all of us and have no business or right to do so. But what do you guys think? Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe and I will talk to you later. Bye.
It was such a fraud.